Regarding scorpions, Democritus states that if he who has been stung by a scorpion immediately whispers into the ear of a donkey, "A scorpion has stung me," the injured person will heal, and the pain will pass to the donkey. Pliny the Elder, The Natural History. Hello and welcome to Fire of Learning. In this video, I'd like to share some of the eye-catchingly unusual things the Romans believed were true, at least according to a man named Pliny the Elder. Who is that? Pliny the Elder was one of the most important scholars of the ancient world. His work, The Natural History, is one of the most important surviving works we have from the Roman Empire. The Natural History is a predecessor to the modern encyclopedia. It consists of 37 books touching on everything from biology to ethnography to astronomy to art, providing us with an enormously important view into life in the Roman Empire and the way the Romans saw the world. Is all of the information contained within accurate? Much of it, actually yes, but there's a fair amount that is, well, not. For many centuries, scholars reading Pliny the Elder have come across some things that have caused them to ask themselves, what? What? This video is a compilation of those passages. I'll talk a little bit more about Pliny the Elder at the end, but for now, have you ever wondered about the religious practices of elephants? Pliny the Elder has an answer. The largest land animal is the elephant, and it is nearest to man in intelligence. Nay, more, it possesses virtues rare even in man: honesty, wisdom, justice, also respect for the stars and reverence for the sun and moon. Authorities state that in the forests of Mauritania, when the new moon is shining, herds of elephants go down to a river named Amilo, and there perform a ritual of purification, sprinkling themselves with water, and after thus paying their respects to the moon, return to the woods, carrying before them those of their calves who are tired. Have you ever wondered where bears come from? After meeting with the male bear, the female then retires by herself to a separate den, and there brings forth, on the 30th day, mostly 5 young ones. When first born, they are shapeless masses of white flesh, a little larger than mice, their claws alone being prominent. The mother then licks them gradually into proper shape. How do you get a dolphin's attention? Instead of a voice, dolphins emit a moaning sound similar to that made by a human being. The back is arched and the nose turned up. For this reason it is that they all recognize in a most surprising manner the name of flat nose, and prefer to be called by that name rather than by any other. Pliny also, as mentioned, tackled subjects like geography and ethnography. In a certain large valley in the Himalayas, there is a region called Abaraman, where there are some people dwelling in forests who have their feet turned backward behind their legs, who run extremely fast and range abroad over the country with the wild animals. It is stated by Byton, Alexander the Great's route surveyor on his journeys, that these men are unable to breathe in another climate, and that consequently none of them could be brought to the neighboring kings or had ever been brought to Alexander. Megasthenes states that on many of the mountains of India, there is a tribe of human beings with dogs' heads, who wear a covering of wild beast skins, whose speech is a bark, and who live on the produce of hunting and fowling, for which they use their nails as weapons. He says that they numbered more than 120,000 when he published his work. Ctesias describes a people known as the Monocolia, who have only one leg and who move in jumps with surprising speed. The same are called the Umbrella Foot tribe, because in hotter weather they lie on their backs on the ground and protect themselves with the shadow of their feet. And again, westward from these, there are some people without necks, having their eyes in their shoulders. Pliny doesn't write only about India, though. According to Isogonus of Nicaea, certain people in Illyria are born with keen gray eyes and are bald from childhood, and that they see better by night than in the daytime. Pliny is famous for his remedies for numerous ailments as well. For example, have you ever had food caught in your throat? He offers solutions, but it depends on what the object is. When a fish bone happens to stick in the throat, it will go down immediately if the person plunges his feet into cold water. But where the accident has happened with any other kind of bone, the proper remedy is to apply to the head some fragments of bones taken from the same dish. In cases where bread has stuck in the throat, the best plan is to take some of the same bread and insert it into both ears. Suffering from joint pain, Pliny the Elder recommends that the urine of a person who has lived on a cabbage diet should be kept, because when it is warmed, it is a cure for pains in the sinews. He also advises that the juice of cabbage should be poured warm into the ears, with wine added, and insists that this treatment benefits those who are hard of hearing. Are you wetting the bed at night? The magicians tell us that after taking the ashes of a boar's genitals in sweet wine, the patient must urinate in a dog's bed and repeat the following phrase: "This I do that I may not wet my bed as a dog does." Want to ease a woman's childbirth? It is said that if a person takes a stone or other missile which has slain 3 living creatures, a man, a boar, and a bear, at 3 blows, and throws it over the roof of a house in which there is a pregnant woman, her delivery, however difficult, will be instantly accelerated thereby. In such a case, too, a successful result will be rendered all the more probable if a light infantry lance is used, which has been drawn from a man's body without touching the earth. Indeed, if it is brought into the house, it will be productive of a similar result. Make sure the baby stays out, though, for, as Pliny writes, Claudius Caesar writes of an infant at Saguntum, which at once went back into the womb, in the year in which that city was destroyed by Hannibal. Elsewhere, he wrote, "If it is considered desirable that the color of an infant's eyes should be black, the pregnant woman must eat a rat." Suffering from headaches? The following are some of the reveries of magic. By pouring vinegar upon the hinges of a door, a thick liniment is formed, which, applied to the forehead, will alleviate headache. In effect equally produced, we are told, by binding the head with a halter with which a man has been hanged. Ask your doctor if the halter with which a man has been hanged is right for you, as serious side effects can occur. Have a toothache? Toothache, they assert, may be cured by taking the tooth of a live mole and attaching it to the body. For pain in general, he states, according to these authorities, a tick from a dog's left ear, worn as an amulet, will allay all kinds of pains. They add also that the dog from whose left ear the tick is taken must be entirely black. It is stated that dogs will avoid the presence all day of a person who has taken a tick from off a hog. Struck by lightning. When a person has been struck by lightning, if the body is turned upon the side which has sustained the injury, he will instantly recover the power of speech. That is quite certain. So what was wrong with this guy? As hilarious as all this is, I don't want to leave you with a false impression that Pliny the Elder was nothing but a whack job trying to convince people that they should put bread in their ears if they're ever choking and such. The Naturalis Historia was an attempt to document all of the knowledge about the natural world that the Romans had into something similar to an encyclopedia. I selected some of the most outlandish claims contained within for the purpose of our amusement, but most of his work is not like this, and in fact a lot of what he said was not only accurate, but useful information, to the Romans and people of later periods as well. To this day, it is an invaluable work which contains a great amount of useful historical information and perspectives, some of which we otherwise would not know about, and he is generally considered fairly reliable by historians, at least relative to other contemporaries. But yes, every once in a while, you come across something absolutely bizarre in his work. Indeed, this is not only something modern people have noticed, but people as far back as the early Middle Ages questioned many of the things he wrote, and knew that some of his claims could not be correct. Moreover, it's unlikely that all Romans believed these things, and, most importantly, Pliny sometimes even makes it clear that he does not believe some of these things he records himself, or is at least skeptical of them. As you might have noticed, he will sometimes start his claims off with phrases like, "it is said," or "we are told." Pliny the Elder, of course, was focused on the truth, but his goal was to create a hugely extensive record of information, not necessarily to discern the accuracy of every claim. At one point, before he started listing off a series of remedies, he even wrote, "It is hardly possible to preserve one's seriousness in describing some of these remedies, but as they have been transmitted to us, I must not pass them in silence." Furthermore, it's worth remembering that people of the past simply had different standards for evidence. Thus, he consulted and drew from numerous other authors, his personal experiences, and hearsay, and basically recorded everything he came across without the skepticism expected of a modern scholar. He did at least make a good habit of citing those sources. But, still, he entertained some pretty blatantly absurd things. Why? Well, I'll let Pliny speak for himself here. What is not deemed miraculous when it first comes into knowledge? How many things are judged impossible before they actually occur? He also said later, "When I have observed nature, she has always induced me to deem no statement about her incredible." End quote. A philosophy every good researcher of any kind should have. I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, I invite you to come check out the rest of Fire of Learning and to subscribe to see more videos like this in the future. To support the channel, you may make a donation on Patreon, the link to which is in the description. A special thanks to my current patrons listed here. I also run a science channel much like this called Lucinox, so be sure to check that out too. Gratias Tibiago for watching.